Justin St. Clair. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. How are you, Carl?
Well, I hear you're better than good. I hear what was that? FF frickin' fantastic is what Jimmy tells me. So
That's right.
yeah. So if I'm correct, this is the second time that we've met. First time was in Phoenix.
Yes, we met
Yep.
in Phoenix.
Yep. And so bring everybody up to speed here a little bit. So banker, broker, loan officer, branch manager, kind of give us a little bit of the lay of the land.
Yeah, loan officer with Summit Funding. I've now been in the business for 10 years. Got a team of two loan partners, a team loan officer. So I've got personal production. Last year I did just under 60 million in production, and I'm also the sales manager for our branch, which I should know the numbers, but it's a pretty large branch. So yeah,
Yeah, guesstimate. It's within the ballpark.
400 to 500 million.
My man, good for you, buddy.
So yeah, it's a really big branch, and we're looking to continue to grow and prosper. So things are looking good right now.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah, and there's an old saying, every 400 million helps.
Every 400 million helps.
Every 400 million helps. So
That's
good for
right.
you, man. How many like at 60 million for yourself of personal production, how many where are you located at?
I'm in Eugene, Oregon.
Okay. That's beautiful up there, by the way. One of my dear, dear, dear friends from my Air Force days lives up in Bend,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oregon, and I just fell in love with that place. Especially, and I say this every time I talk to somebody from Oregon, especially the Oregon Outback. Do you know what the Oregon Outback is?
No, I don't.
So, I didn't either. So it's and you probably call it something else, but it's the east side of the mountains where it's all flat.
Yep.
I drove through. When you think of Oregon, you think of like lumber and rainforest, and a lot of people don't know the east side is like a high desert.
Well, what's funny is I've grown up here, lived, born and raised in Eugene, Oregon, my whole life. And when
Good
I
for
was
you.
a kid, I remember people from California and other places would always say Oregon, or they had this sort of idea that it was like the backwoods, or it was just this country rural place. And what's great, it's been incredible for the housing market because the amount of buyers moving from relocating here, because now the idea is that it's the Northwest, it's outdoors, it's cool. So
Yeah.
really just I feel like the way people think about the Northwest has completely changed, and
Mhm.
it's helped a ton for us. We've had so many people relocate up into the Northwest, and specifically in Eugene, Oregon, just a big college town. And so a lot of
Mhm.
people are moving up this way.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine that's in Boise, Idaho, and he said the same thing. They just had this tremendous influx, primarily from California, people looking for a small big city. Let's
Yeah.
say it that way.
Yeah.
They've been San Francisco and LA, great place, and they go, hey, we want to kind of get some fresh air. So cool. Um, so on 60 million for last year personal production, like, how many units is that? Like give or take?
It was 150 units.
150. Good for you, man. Well, gosh, the first question that always comes to mind is how'd you do it?
Well, it's a lot of consistency over time. Like when I really think back, I mean, there's a couple things I think of. Number one, and this is what I think a lot of loan officers miss the boat on. I started on the team of a really top producing agent or lender.
Uh-huh.
Dave Kammer brought me into the business. I started as a loan partner one for him. And what
And
that,
for somebody that might not be familiar, explain what a loan partner one is.
yeah, loan partner one, officer assistant, right? They're just interchangeable. But really, my job was to assist the loan officer intake leads, get complete 1003s, gather basic documentation, set the appointment, help really assist the loan officer to do the professional loan presentation. So that's how I entered the business. But what I didn't realize is when I walked in, I just started learning how to do the business the right way from day one, right? I started understanding what a lead tracker is and what it meant to like follow up on leads and what it like always remember like, hey, every time I talk to a lead, I got to talk to the referral source. So it just started imprinting all of these really good habits from day one.
Yeah.
And I stayed a part of that team for 3 years. And as I was building up and supporting the team, I started to foster relationships of my own and start developing my own real estate partners in my top 40, and got to a point where I was generating enough business within the team that it was I had to make that decision. Do I stay part of this team, which some people, life balance and what they want, totally a great setup. You can make a lot of money and do very well as a team loan officer. But I had bigger aspirations. I wanted to build my own team and really, you
Yeah.
know, that's just what I always wanted to do from day one. But when I made that move, it was seamless. I had a loan partner, and I think the first month that I broke off, I closed 14 transactions.
Oh,
And
man. Well, I bet he or she hated to lose you. And
well,
and we always want success for our team members,
totally.
and of course, and so I'm sure that was a part of it, but it's still like, you want to do what?
Oh, sure. And that was it wasn't a surprise, right? So I mean it was definitely in the cards and it was something, but and I talk to a lot of loan officers and I coach a lot of new ones and they're so hesitant to be a part of those teams because they get so stuck on, making less on transactions or making less on deals. And I think what they're giving up is they're giving up so much future income based on time and because by the time I transitioned out, I knew how to run team meeting. I knew how to follow up conversion on leads. I knew how to talk to clients and just really run the play. And so it was just off. I was off to the races. And then, it's just been consistently being there, making my Monday calls, like connecting, adding value to agents over time. It doesn't happen overnight. It's definitely a long-term play.
Hmm. I think that's where a lot of people in all kinds of industries miss the boat. Is a lot of people would rather make the slow dime. I'm sorry, the fast dime instead of the slow
Mm,
dollar. And the big money is always long money. You know, yeah. 'Cause like you look at like somebody like Google, how they operated at a loss for years. How
yes.
Uber still may be a loss.
Yeah.
And but the big money is always the long money. So that's a hard thing to grasp sometimes.
I remember vividly, Carl. I remember being a part of the team, and I had this mindset that if I helped my loan officer at the time, Dave, if I truly impacted his team, helped the team close more transactions, I knew that that would come back to me a million times over, right?
Yeah.
I knew that the knowledge that I was getting, because I came into the business. So the funny thing is, Carl, I came into the business. I was a golf pro before I got in the business. I
Really.
I didn't know one thing about mortgage whatsoever. All I knew was an opportunity, and my mindset was like, apparently there you can do really well if you can do this
Mhm.
at a high
Yeah.
level. And so I get into it, but I knew that that knowledge and that mentorship was worth so much money in the future, and I'd do it 10 times over all day
Mhm.
long. And I just think a lot of loan officers just miss that boat, and they don't take advantage of those opportunities, and they'd be so much farther along because when I broke off, I remember I'm like 3, 4 years in, quickly realizing that I was operating my business almost like a 15-year vet but doing it in
Mhm.
year 4. And
Mhm.
that's priceless.
It's just fast forwarding by copying somebody that's already successful. I always think of it as like, there's two ways to get through the jungle. One way is to grab a machete
Yeah.
and whack your way through the weeds. Another way is to follow behind somebody that's already whacked away the weeds and laid down a 4-lane highway. And that's what you did, is find somebody successful and just nail your hip to theirs. What's one thing that is like a man, am I so glad I learned this thing? Because without this, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Any one particular, I'm sure there's a lot of things that led to where you are, but is there one thing like, boy, this was the biggie?
Ye- I don't know why, Carl. One of the things that comes to mind, it's sort of a fundamental is coaching a lot of loan officers. When you start to ask them, hey, what's your top 40 agent list look like?
Mm,
Very few of them actually can produce something. Or they'll say, well, I kind of have one, I kind of don't. And one of my mentors early on told me something that always resonated. And she said, every 21 days, people forget about you.
mm,
And that always struck with me. And so it was something that I fell
mhm,
onto. But one of my fundamentals of my business is that every single Monday, I print my top 40 list. And one of my goals is as I work through the week, whether it's a phone call, a meeting, a text, some correspondence, I will highlight them as we make contact through the week. And my goal is to get through every single week, making contact at least once with one of my top 40s.
mm,
And that has served me really well. I would say that relationship retention has been super strong through the years because I'm very consistent. I don't really I just never go 3 week more than 21 days without making a connection or contact. And so when I get that print that sheet every Monday, there are definitely times I'm like, I missed so and so last week. I need to call them this week. I need to reach out. I need to add value. I need to stay top of mind because as much as I'd like to say I'm super charming, the best loan officer in the world, right? Every agent, everybody out there has their own challenges and problems. And if
Yeah.
you're not the one that's consistently showing up, they will forget about you. And you are simply just one great loan officer coffee meeting away from them starting to send that next lead to somebody else.
Hmm.
And this was so apparent 3 years ago. I was teaching a big class with some realtors. I had about 35 agents in the room. And I don't know what came over me, but I just had this inspiration. I said, hey, by show of hands, who here has given the last lead to a lender who has either called them or they just simply had coffee with? And it
Hmm.
stunned me that I think 95% of that room raised their hand. And it was like one of the most eye-opening experiences that we just as lenders, like we don't call enough. We don't
Hmm.
outreach. We don't tell stories. We don't offer solutions near
Hmm.
enough. And we don't give credit to that consistency.
What do you say to the loan officer says, yeah, but I don't want to bug them. I don't want to be, this word just is fingernails on a chalkboard for me. I don't want to be salesy.
Yeah.
I don't, they're busy. What do you say to that person?
Yeah, I would say a couple things. Number one, usually we're just simply in our own head about it,
Yeah.
right? I tell people all the time, like you're gonna get sick of your content way before somebody else does. Most agents will forget, like you can talk. I was just coaching today about temporary buy downs and how when they first came out, it was like all we talked about, right? We were just talking to every agent about temporary buy downs and how they worked. And I had two referral partners that I'm really close with. I had talked to them no less than 6 times about the temporary buy down and how it worked. And a couple months later, they'd asked me to come talk to their team. And as I'm going into the meeting, I didn't really quite know what I should talk about. And I'm like, I was like, oh, I'll remind them on temporary buy downs. I'm talking about the buy down and how it works. I'm halfway through the meeting, and my partners look at me and they stop me and they go, dude, why haven't you told us about this? This is awesome. And I'm like, guys, like I was just like so shocked. I'm like, and it made me realize like real estate agents, like they're battling different problems, right? Like they don't really remember programs and things. And so what I would say to the loan officer that thinks that they're bugging him is, get coaching. Like that's, I mean, the number one thing that's been a game changer for me is the coaching and the mentorship. So if I'm struggling on what to say, I'm going to reach out to somebody that's really good at it and say, "Hey, what do you say?" Because I will the lenders that struggle with this, Carl, the reason they struggle is because they don't know what their value is, or the reason they're bugging them is they're calling and they're just simply saying, "Hey, Carl, how was your weekend?" Well, after about 3 or 4 weeks of that, agents will kind of get fatigued of the same song and dance, right? Versus saying like, "Hey, Carl, like, hey, I want to tell you a quick story about how I was able to get a client who was qualified for a manufactured home in a park at $140,000 approved on a $300,000 stick-built house.
Mhm.
If you have anybody like that, let me know. I'd love to help them out, right? Like that's like it's a value call. And I think the reason they struggle making those calls is they're not clear on what their value is, and they just don't have enough coaching and mentorship, so they don't really know what to say. So of course they feel salesy.
So, what do you think is the biggest challenge? So, as a coach, where you help other loan officers across the nation, uh, what do you find is the biggest challenge that loan officers say, like they're closing, say, a couple units a month now?
Yeah.
And you're averaging, I just did the quick math, 150, like 13-ish,
Yeah.
somewhere around that per month. And I get it, some months 20, some months
Yeah.
probably six, but
Yeah.
13-ish. So what do you think the biggest challenge loan officers have going from, say, a couple units a month to, let's say, 6 units a month, which is a massive change in what's three times. What's the biggest challenge you think going from like two to six?
Well, there's two things. Generally, there's two things, Carl. So number one, any lender across the board, right? When I look at bigger producers than me, It is always the same thing. They have bigger agents and more referral sources. Like they just
Mm,
either have bigger accounts or they just have more of them.
mm,
So if I look at somebody producing two versus somebody producing eight on average, I don't even have to go to Redder or MMI. I can look them up and I can tell you 100% the one who does more just has bigger, better accounts. Okay.
mm,
So that's problem number one. The second thing is I also do have a lot of loan officers that are generating 30, 40 leads a month. And the metrics say that they should be closing like 5 or 6 units per month, but they're closing two or three. So they have no process or system. Like they're totally inconsistent on how their lead intake works. They're inconsistent about their professional loan presentation. And so every single time they get a client, they have to reinvent the wheel and they get decision fatigued and they get burnt out. And what I find is that, you build to a point where you're forced to have system and structure because you can't scale and grow without it. And what you come to realize is how much opportunity you were missing because you simply didn't have a system for lead intake. You didn't have a system for your pre-approved client calls. You didn't have just a simple system on chasing your Monday realtor calls, right? Everything in my business now has like a written system and reviewed by the team. Like we talk about it all the time because we know we're only as good as our system. And so I think what really holds a lot of loan officers back is they actually do generate the leads, enough leads to get the closings they want, but they lack the system to convert.
mm. So it's just not having that structured follow-up routine.
Yeah.
Dude, the old, if I had a nickel every time a loan officer would ask me, it's a great question. Uh, how often do I follow up? How many times? How long? And I think you're right. They just got a bunch of post-it notes sitting on their desk.
Yep.
And when they feel up to it, they think it's about time. And dude, I saw a thing the other day. I could not believe this. I might have done an episode on this. I can't remember. But guess how long is it from, I don't think I did this yet. How long is it from the time a loan officer gets a lead until they talk to that lead, or until they reach out to that lead, and maybe hit the voicemail first time, but how much time from the time they get a lead till the time they reach out to that lead? You want to guess how long that is?
Oof. I know how long it should be. I would guess 5, 6 hours is
Yeah,
probably the average.
yeah. No, it's a bit more than that.
Oof.
It's 47 hours, 2 full days. Isn't that crazy? Or not crazy? Isn't that tragic is a better word.
You know why I think that is, Carl?
Tell me.
So there's something we talk about in our team, right? We always talk about this mantra of respond quickly. But what I found is that respond quickly gives people angst, whether it's a loan officer or maybe your loan partner, an assistant that responds to a client. They have this tendency to not respond quickly because responding quickly makes them think they have to take action or drop whatever they're doing right there to completely follow a task through. So if you were to call me as a lead and maybe I'm busy or I can't like I'm finishing up with a client, it's crazy, but just simply texting back, hey, got your message. Can't wait to talk to you. I'm going to be available in 30 minutes for a quick call. Does that work? Or, being able to it goes back to the system, Carl. Like if I have a system, most people just want to know that they're taken care of and they've got the next step,
Hmm.
right? And most loan officers, when you say that they're 47 hours, the reason that they don't call is they don't have any system structure or experience. And so they feel like they can only make that call when they're in front of a computer and they're ready to take an application right
Hmm.
then, right there. But the problem is they've already missed the boat because now they've called two credit unions, they've called another online lender. So when they do get to talk to them, they're going, oh, I'm already behind the eight ball because now I'm getting rate shopped. And, you know, I find that most clients will work with you if you're the first one to respond and you come across as competent and confident. They'll work with you if they're just taken care of quickly.
Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free, cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next. So I'm a statistics freak,
Yeah.
just FYI.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite classes in college was statistics and probabilities. I just began
Yeah.
to freak about this stuff. So I love test and split test, whatnot. So the actual number is 79% of the people. Well, let me say it again. 79% of the loans close with the first loan officer they talk to. 79%.
I believe it.
That's a that means that speed to lead is more important than how long I've been doing this, my sales pitch, my rate, my fees, uh, how I got them. Like it out
Yeah.
trumps everything else. And so, yeah, I think I've often wondered about that. Or since I heard that stat, which is recent, I wondered about that 47 hours. And I thought it was one of a couple things. Either call reluctance, even on an inbound call.
Yeah.
I think that plays what I got to be perfect. I got to be right. And like you said, hey, just call them and say, hey, I'll text them. Hey, I'll be with you. I'll call you in 30 minutes. But
Yeah.
everything's got to be just perfect. I think that's part of it. I think putting out fires.
Mm-hmm.
They got two loans, no support, and they're
Yep.
putting out fires. And I think, dear God, if I get another loan, I'll have even yet more headaches to deal
Yes.
with. So I think the lack of a loan partner might play into that. I don't know. The one thing about us as loan officers, we have this incredible freedom, which is what attracts a lot of us to this field. But
Mm-hmm.
boy, that's a double-edged sword. Is that that freedom
It,
can be. We have the freedom to cut our own throat, so to speak.
I always tell everybody I'm the worst. If I've got white space on my calendar, meaning like I work off time blocks, I'm the worst office terrorist. I'll go around and start, what are you doing? What are you doing? I love when my calendar is a little more full than I have time for. It's just how we're built, right? It's like you
Yeah.
get in go mode and you start acting without thinking. You just like meaning you just pick up the phone and take the call. Like you don't have time to really think about it. And I do really think, as you talk about the reasons, the 47 hours, I just a lot of newer loan officers, like any of your top producers, are going to pick up the phone instantly because they don't have to think about what the next step is for the client or what they're going to
Mhm.
lead with them. Like when a lead calls me, I could be dropping my kids off at school, doing whatever. I'm going to hit Triangle Trust, what's their timeline, asking a couple basic questions, and then I know exactly what to say from there. I'm basically, here's next steps, application link or my loan partner. I know exactly what to tell them. And the next time I meet with them, it's going to be at a pre-approval appointment. Now I've got assistance, but if I'm doing it just by myself, I'm sending the application link and I'm saying, hey, as soon as this comes through, it notifies me. I'll get it downloaded and I'll message you and we'll set up a time to do a full loan consultation. But when you're newer, I think the struggle is you don't really like you're reinventing the wheel every single time. You don't really know what to say. And so you're trying to like almost pre-plan. You got to think too much and they delay because of that thinking and just lack of process and knowing what to say next.
Mm. What's the biggest challenge that you yourself have had to overcome as you went from, let's say, rookie status
Mhm.
to non-rookie status? What's the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome?
The biggest challenge from non-rookie to rookie, I would say, oh, that's a good question. You know what it is? It's staying in my lane. So
Mm,
as you continue to grow,
yeah.
like if you're new and you're taking all of your leads, right? Like in you're updating your lead tracker and you're setting your appointments, that's the natural progression. And then you get really good at it. You become the best salesperson, right? There is.
Mm,
And then you get a loan officer assistant. And the key, and then what happens is you start having them take some leads, but then you take some leads, and then your loan officer, then your LP is confused around like what their real role is because they don't really own it because you jump in half the time. And I find I've learned that if the team or somebody can do it at 80% as well as me,
let them do
their
it.
job 100% of the time, and the more I stay out of my team's way, the better they operate, the better the team does. But I think we all struggle with that because we think we're the best at this or we're the best at this, and the truth is we're
Mhm.
not. We're actually not. We're
Yeah.
we're a bunch of squirrels.
Yeah. I'll never forget. So I have this wonderful lady that I've worked with for the past 20 some years, still with me today. And I don't know. she was with me for about 6 months or so at the time. She was what I called a loan manager, which
Mhm.
basically is a an LP2 in processor as one person, right?
Yeah.
So once I got a contract, she'd take it closed, process it from start to finish. One day I was over there and I was standing over her shoulder and I was helping her like she really needed it, right? And and she squared me up and she says, "Look, who do you want to do this? Do you want me to do my job or do you want to do my job? Just let me know
Yeah.
which one of us is unnecessary at this moment." Okay. Thank you
That,
very much for that lesson. I never forgot that. Because,
yeah.
see, what I was saying is, hey, I'm so glad you're here.
Hmm.
You helped me out so much. Here, let me help you.
Yeah.
But that's not what she heard. What she heard was, you're incompetent. If I don't do this, it won't be done right. And that's which was not what I was saying, right?
Yeah.
But that's what, and understandably, that's what she heard. And so that's what I had. She cared for me enough that she squared me up that one day, and that was 20 some years ago, and that was the last time she had to do that.
It's funny, Carl. I find my team grows the most when I'm on vacation or truly unavailable.
Hmm.
It's funny how they're so empowered and they start taking action. I would say that loan officers with teams, right? Like as leaders of the teams, like I'd say generally we are the problem. When something's not working,
Yeah.
we're usually the problem. Either we're not following the process, we're skipping steps, or we're just getting simply too involved. If we
Hmm.
empower our team and our team feels like we've got their back and that they can make mistakes and they'll learn and grow, it's amazing what they can do if you just let them.
Hmm. All right, let's go back to our 2 loans per month loan officer. Which,
Yes,
by the way, you know what the average amount of closings per month for the nationwide for loan officers is?
right now,
Yeah.
it's probably less than two. It's probably one.
Yeah, actually, it is less than one. It's
Yeah.
0.8.
Yes.
So when we're talking about the two, that's somebody that's, they're doing okay.
Yeah.
If you want to help them, like somebody's listening to this today and they're closing two, what's the first thing they should go do to get to that next level?
Well, you'll never have the business you want until you have more leads than you can handle. So the first thing is they got to generate leads. And I find that most loan officers, and whether they're doing two or not, there's just so much call reluctance and they're so afraid to call and create new relationships.
Hmm.
If you put me on the East Coast, you just drop me in a new town and nobody knew me, the first thing I would do is fill my calendar with face-to-face agent referrals.
How would you do that?
I would what I would do is I'd go to Title, right? Or Redder or wherever, right? We
Yep.
have one of the nice things now, Carl, is we have all the information at our fingertips. Even in 10 years when I started, it's changed like we had to wait until the end of the year when Title would release who closed, like, how many reports. Now I can just go print one. I would print, like if I were on a brand new town, I would print the list of the top 100 agents by production on buy sides. And I would go through the list and I'd call every single one of them and I would try to land as many appointments as I could. And then I would carry around my top 40 list. And as I met with somebody, they'd go on my list and I would start calling them consistently every week. And I would develop a relationship with them. And it takes time, but it really just starts with you got to have meetings. You got to get in front of them and you got to, and then the skill level you develop over time, right? There was something I heard recently and I wrote it up on my wall here. I love it. It says volume negates luck. So
Mm-hmm.
what I learned by that is that it really is like if you want to become incredibly masterful something, you just need more at bats than anybody else. And I would challenge any loan officer out there that if you started calling 10 agents every single day and you didn't stop until you set 2 appointments in 6 months, you would be better at landing appointments with real estate agents than 99% of loan officers in the country because Carl, the truth is most hardly call any at all. Even some of the bigger producers, they've just been in it a long time and they've developed relationships, but they're not very intentional about acquiring new accounts and they don't make enough calls.
Hmm. Yeah, I always get a kick. I see these ads, they're trying to sell some widget and, real estate marketing is dead. And then you go look up their production. They're either A, not a producer, never been a producer, or not a very good one. And maybe I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't want to be throwing rocks, but it just it just never ceased to amaze me what a simplistic formula this is. And so few actually do it. And I have never, like literally not once, seen a loan officer follow the plan,
Hmm.
make their calls. I don't care how rookie they are. I don't care how old, how young, how green, how purple, how tall, like how well versed. I knew this guy. He had a horrible stutter. It was so bad that I thought he was, I thought he was pulling my leg. Like it was bad, And he was knocking them dead.
Yeah.
And I've learned that I've never seen somebody do it and it not work out. I've seen people quit, but I've not once, and I'm talking like literally thousands of loan officers we've helped over the years. I've never seen somebody where they did it and they reported that didn't work. I've seen them
Yeah.
quit, but I've never seen it not work, like not once.
What's funny is I think a lot of the loan officers that are closing too, they look at somebody that's closing 10 or 15 a month.
Yeah.
I would tell you, full transparency is I don't care what level you're at. Like you would think they're so smooth and so good on the phone and fearless, and it's not true. They
No.
fumble over words, they make mistakes all the time. And what I've come to learn is that they just are better at pushing through. Like the goal is in the doing, not the results.
Hmm.
It's exactly what you said, Carl. Like if you just do the activities, like you'll get the results. I I recently I'll share a quick story. I was on a coaching call. I had three students, and we had this contest, and they knew ahead of time that whoever was in last place on the contest had to cold call an agent on the call with the group and ask for an appointment, and then we would critique her. And so the student who lost, love her, she's awesome. She got sick for a couple days, and she ended up losing. And I said, hey, listen, a deal's a deal. You got to make the call, right? And so she ends up making the call. And as she's on there, she is fumbling like so bad. Like she's nervous, right? And doing something in front of your peers is way harder, Carl.
Oh,
Like
for
it's
sure.
one thing in front of, in your office when nobody's listening, but in your
Yeah.
front. And she fumbled. But the funny thing is, the agent said, yes, I'll meet with you.
Mm,
And 2 months later, she ended up closing her first deal with that agent. And I told her, I said, you may have lost the contest, but you won the call
yeah.
because this is the best lesson you'll ever get as a loan officer. It's not being so polished and perfect. It's more about taking action and doing it. You landed an
Mm,
appointment. Candidly, you self-admitted that you were terrible on the asking, right? But you got the appointment. Now you're closing a deal because you did it, right? And that's what I wish that every loan officer could figure out. I wish they could feel that success, and and I think it could just change the game in their mindset and get them over the hump to start making some of those calls because they're always waiting to be perfect, and they realize that most of us just do it. We're far from perfect.
dude, I'm just chuckling right now. I did a Zoom meeting. I can't remember how many was on there. It was like 70, I think, or so agents were on this Zoom meeting. And I did this presentation I've done 100 times. And brother, when I say I've done 1,000 like webinars and Zooms, it's thousands. Like literally,
Yeah.
I've done thousands. And this was just last Thursday, I think it was, or Thursday or Wednesday. Dude, I did so bad. It was, dude, it was so bad that when we finished, my assistant called me up and she said, "What was that?" And it's just, you pick up,
Yeah.
you put one foot in front of the other, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not, but it's just you just do it over and over and over and don't, it all works out. So anyway.
And nobody remembers but you. Carl, I've been
Oh,
on
I'm gonna
stage.
remember that one for a while. That was it
Well,
was bad. It was
but
bad.
but the funny thing is nobody remembers. I've been on stage talking in front of a couple hundred people. I've literally had a panic attack in front of 10 agents in an office, right? And just totally crap. You're gonna fail, right? And really you just have to remember, like it's part of the like we recently heard Rene Rodriguez talk about it, and he said awkwardness is a requirement for growth. You
Hmm.
have to make those mistakes and you have to fumble through. You have to do it. And even Carl, you're a master at it, right? You've done more reps than anybody else, and you can still just totally have an off day.
Yeah, my grip slipped on the bar, and I'm
Yeah.
sitting there on the bench press with it on my neck, gasping for air.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my partner called me up and body slammed me.
Yeah.
What was that? So anyway, good stuff, man. So how long you been coaching with Jimmy?
So I've been coaching with Jimmy now, five years, I think.
Wow,
Yes. Time flies. About 5 years.
Jimmy's a pretty
Yes.
special guy, isn't he?
Gosh, he's got an incredible ability of making things really simple.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really love about Jim is that he's really direct and he's going to get to the heart of what's
Mhm.
really the matter, right? And he's
Mhm.
he's so intuitive. Like when you have a conversation with him, he picks up a lot of things in rooms that most people don't and they miss. And
Yeah.
he's brilliant, but he keeps it very simple. And I think the genius is in the simplicity.
Yeah. Well, brother, let's give them every time I finish this, and maybe it's something that we've already said. Right before we wrap up, I always like to hey, wait, I got one more question.
Yeah.
The President of the United States gives you a call,
Okay.
whoever he or she is, right? Whoever
Sure.
he or she is. So she calls you up and says, Justin, we need your expertise here.
Okay.
What's your superpower that he or she is calling you to utilize?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say for me, my superpower is really adding value to my real estate partners. I'm really
Mhm.
good at just I don't overthink it. I keep it really simple and I'm really good at adding perceived value. It's really perceived value, right? Like all we're looking for is opportunity. And
Mhm.
every agent out there, I just met with the top agent in our county, tons of business. And he's looking for opportunity. And he met with me and I just realized like everybody's looking for opportunity, but it's just taking something that we already have and just uh, articulating it as value. And if you're good at doing that, you're going to get a lot of meetings and you're going to get a lot of at bats.
Mm, love it. Hey, I always like to finish up the episode with, hey, right after you listen to this, go do this.
I would say right after you listen to this, my go-to, I would say go update, fix, create your top 40 list, right? Revamp it, even if it starts with three. My top 40 list, I think, had three names on it. And it's an exercise I do probably every 6 months as I go through.
Yeah.
I'll add people that I want. I'll take some people off, but I carry around everywhere I go. I have it with me at all times. I take it in my car. It is the lifeblood of my business. I mean, they're my referral partners, and that's where most of my business comes from. So I would say go out and start a list and see how big you can grow it.
Mm. I just saw a report from National Association of Realtors for 2025, and on that report, only 3%. So 79% of real estate agents closed zero deals. It was either 73 or 79. Anyway, 70 something, zero deals. Only 3% closed 10 buy sides or more in the last 12 months. 3%. So if we just randomly pick somebody, or well, I'm calling Bob because I know Bob, I'm calling Sue because
Yeah.
I know Sue, we got a 97% chance that that's probably, I call it, we're looking for apples in an oak tree. It's just not going to happen. So anyway, good stuff,
It's
Dustin.
a lot slimmer pickings out there right now. That is for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. So having that target list. Well, brother, a lot of great stuff here. Appreciate you. Appreciate what you do.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're changing lives literally on the loan officers that you're helping around the country, and appreciate who you are. And I'm really really glad that Jimmy hooked us up together.
love it. Thanks for having me, Carl.
All
Appreciate
right,
it.
see you, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey, when you're ready to see the routine that Justin's talking about here, um, once we schedule a chat, you go to getmoreloans.com, and we'll walk you through the exact same routine that he follows, and let's see what happens with that. Right? Would love for you to be a member over here at the Mortgage Marketing Animals and the Alliance that myself and Jimmy, where we personally work with loan officers, top loan officers across the country. So we'd love to talk to you about that. But whether you become a part of that or not, would love to show you the very structured routine that Justin and everybody else in our coaching program follows. It's very, very, very effective. So getmoreloans.com. We'll talk to you when you call in, and we'll see you on the next episode.